And our next question actually comes from the Ask Me Anything comment section on YouTube. It's from Dark Sky Random, who asked, "Are you going to any cons next year?" I want to, like, I really do want to. I'm currently in Texas, and I know that they actually do have a small convention here. Well, I don't know if it's small, because supposedly everything's big in Texas. I'm not from Texas, so I'm still learning about Texas. But I hear that Texas actually does have a type of, like, little, like, convention or a meet, and then it's all the way down in Austin, which, well, not down, over in Austin. Austin's only about an hour and 45 minutes from me, and granted, if I can get a ride, I would love to go. Currently, as you know, I only have Rune's fursuit head. I don't have arm sleeves, I don't have paws, I don't have feet pads, I don't have tail, I don't have wing, don't have anything. All I have is the head. I don't know what I can afford, when I can afford it, if I can make it. I don't really know how to sew. I feel like if I only have Rune's head, I really do not want to go to a convention. I know that a friend of mine is going, and she gets a room there, and she wants to convince other people to go with her. And I would gladly go. She'd have to help me, though, because without my glasses, I can't see anything, and I can't wear my glasses in this head. I would honestly really love to go, and it just depends on who's going. If I can go with a friend, if I can afford it, I'd like to have more of Rune's suit done. As far as Anthrocon, I know that I am not going to Anthrocon next year. My wife is going away for about 12 months for her job, and I really don't want to go to Anthrocon unless she's with me. It's more of a comfort thing. Plus, I feel like this is something that her and I should experience together. I feel like going to the Texas convention would be really fun. She encouraged me to go, even though she's not going to be able to go with me, and because it's smaller, I feel like it'd be able to give me an idea of what cons are all about, and I feel like it'd be a really good experience for me to get a feel for cons and such. So I want to try and go to the Texas one, which is March next year, and I want to go to some of the furry meets around Texas. I feel like that would be a really good experience to kind of get me out there, get me used to this type of stuff, and all around, I want to try. But I can't make any guarantees at this point because I never know what's going on in my life from day to day. But awesome question, and if I do end up going to any cons, I really hope to see everybody there, and I hope that you're not shy, and I hope that you'll come up to me and say hello, and especially if you recognize me off of my YouTube videos or online, I'd love to meet you, give you a high five, give you a hug, and just chat. Alrighty, so moving on to another question, we have Orca Puff, the Dutch Angel Dragon from Facebook, who asks, if you had to pick a song that best described Rune, what would it be and why? And can our Dutchies be friends? Well, first off, yes, our Dutchies can very much be friends. I think that'd be wonderful. I'm always open for making friends. I think when I made Rune's Furaffiity, I even said that Rune was just looking for friends in general, and that he loved making friends with basically anyone. He's actually supposed to be really, really, like, innocent in mindset, and so he's very open to hugs and attention, just in general. He likes making people feel better, he likes playing, like, little innocent pranks to make people laugh, like, that's just who he is. So yes, very much, like, let's be friends. If you want to talk to me, you know, just message me, or you know, if you're on YouTube, leave me a comment. Like, I really would like to get to know more people, furries in general, just anyone, actually. And, yeah, no, I'd love to be friends. So, yay, friends! But if I had to pick a song that best described Rune, I guess I can't really find one that I think describes Rune, at least not at the moment. I actually had to think about this one for a while, and I was looking through my playlists, and I really couldn't find anything that I think describes Rune in general. However, I feel like the idea of Rune and what he means to me, personally, is best described as the song Secrets by Mary Lambert. Because basically the song just goes into the whole, I'm not perfect. It kind of says that, you know, I'm trying to think. There's a part that says, I'm passive aggressive, I'm scared of the dark and the dentist, and I love my butt and I won't shut up and I never really grew up. And that's the lyrics, and that's kind of how it works. And basically, Rune is a child. he never really grew up. He has this mindset of a kid, of a younger child. He likes to play games and he likes to be silly, and he's very free-spirited, and you know, he's just very curious and happy all the time and very positive and optimistic, but he's also kind of odd because of that. He obviously doesn't speak. He, you know, likes to tinker with things and poke and prod and just giggle and laugh and act silly, and you know, and he obviously does have fears, you know, the dark, and I'm personally scared of the dark still, and I'm 20-something years old, you know. So that whole song, and it basically says, I don't care, you know, what my secrets are, kind of thing. It talks about how people expect you to be a certain way, how you have these shoes that you have to fill as an adult, how society tells you to kind of hide away your quirks and the things that kind of make you you if they don't fit this societal norm. And so the idea of Rune is that he's the parts of me that aren't the societal norm. And obviously being a furry in general is not really a societal norm. People think it's an odd fandom. People think fursuiting is an odd thing, and that it's weird, and that it's reserved for people with problems of some sort. And I don't really, you know, consider myself to have problems. I know that, you know, I suffer from certain things that I've been clinically diagnosed with, but I don't let that really define me as being an odd person. I more or less, excuse me, I burped for some odd reason. I don't think I have to fit into any kind of mold, and Rune kind of breaks free of any mold. He is himself, he does whatever he wants because he doesn't see anything wrong with who he is. He lives life with this open mind and this, you know, just curious, explorative, adventurous nature. And so I think if I chose a song, it would definitely be that song, because it's silly, it's funny, it's quirky, it's bouncy and happy, and it kind of just explains what Rune means to me, which is that I'm not trying to please any specific person with how I act. I'm not, you know, I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed of the things that I do. I'm not ashamed of my hobbies or my fandoms or, you know, anything like that. I just am who I am, and I love myself this way, and I don't care who thinks otherwise. It doesn't bother me. So I think that song just kind of encompasses Rune, myself, my you know, my involvement in the furry fandom. I feel like that pretty much encompasses everything, every part of me. So that was a really good question, but it took a lot of thinking because I really couldn't find anything that was specifically for Rune. So I hope that answers at least a little bit of something. So these next few questions, they're pretty much like a 2-for-1 kind of thing. They're kind of asking the same thing. Melissa, I don't know if it's Gun or Goon. Melissa Gun from Facebook said, "What is Rune and who made Rune and how much was he?" Whereas Sierra Renee Webster from Facebook asked, "Who made your head?" It's awesome. Aw, thank you. It's awesome, and how has fursuiting changed your life? So to answer the main question, which is who made Rune and how much was he? And of course, who made the head? Rune was actually made by AJ Vengeant off of Facebook. On Furaffiity, they're known as AJ Kitty. You can also find them via their Dutchie account, which is Reaper. I forget what the full name on Furaffiity is, but AJ Kitty on Furaffiity and AJ Vengeant on Facebook. And it's actually really cool because Rune is actually the second fursuit head that they basically ever made. Reaper was their first, Rune was the second. And I remember talking to this person because I saw the base that they made, and I was very particular about how I wanted Rune. I wanted a base, Angel Dragon base, that would that kind of fit the vision I had of Rune. And I saw this one base. Someone was like, "Oh, well, this is my base." And then I remember messaging AJ and being like, "Hey, do you add the fur, or would I have to buy the base and then do it myself?" You know. Someone actually recommended me to AJ, and then I was like, "Oh, hey, you know, your friend tagged you, and I saw your base, and I really like it, and, you know, do you do furring, and blah." And they kind of explained, well, I'm doing my head first, and then I could possibly do yours. But I've never done furring before. I've done the base, but I've never done furring before. I'm not really sure how he would turn out. And I decided to take a leap of faith, and I was like, okay, how much would he cost? And so to answer the question of how much was he, Rune cost me about $400. It was $350 for the head, and then I paid the extra $50 for shipping since it was being shipped from Canada. And yeah, so $400 in total. I was allowed to make payments. And so every time I got paid, I tried to pay like $100. I tried to pay $100 per month. Usually I'd pay like $100 to $200 per month. Sometimes I had to split up the payments and make like tiny payments here. But ultimately I paid $100 each time. So he was paid off actually fairly quickly since I made about $700 a month. And then even when I went down to making $400 a month, I was still able to make payments. AJ was very wonderful to work with. They kept communications open, which I know a lot of people worry about getting fursuit heads because there are people out there that like to scam people and say that they're making a head and then they never do, and then they take the money and then they make excuses why they can't make a refund kind of thing or give a refund. So I was worried about that, but AJ was really good about messaging me and keeping communications open. They sent me the fur colors. They'd find them on, at first they found them on like Etsy and stuff, and they're like, okay, white is white, but what about the gray? Do you like this gray better, or this gray better, or here's another one, like, what kind of pink do you want? Is this the right color blue? Like, every step of the way, every little thing. I got tons of work in progress pictures, so I always knew where Rune was, what step they were on. If ever they had a question about something, they were like, okay, do you like this better, or would you like it like this? How about I position the ears and send you a picture and see if you like that? Which is really cool because most professional fursuit makers, they'll send work in progresses sometimes if they have a question, but ultimately they kind of just start the fursuit from start to finish, and you don't really know what it looks like until it's done, unless you're watching like a stream or something. You know, and they don't really have to send work in progresses a lot of the time because they've been doing it long enough that they know what they're doing. So you don't generally have to worry about it, especially if they have a company. But with AJ, it was really nice. Always getting the updates, asking like what color is the inner part of his mouth? Do you want the tongue flat or do you want it fluffed? You know, are the ears right? How does the fur look? Which eyes do you like better? Because she made 2 different types of eyes, and we ended up choosing the lighter ones, which they personally liked better, and I loved better as well. You know, so it was actually really nice. It was a really good process. And as far as like what Rune is, the thing is he's 3 things. He has 3 different versions of himself. He does have an angel dragon version, which he has a regular angel dragon version, which looks more like a dragon. He just has big ears. And then there's the Dutchy version, which is what this is more of. So he's more of a Dutchy, I suppose, now than he was. And then as far as like he also has a semi-realistic form, which is more of my headcanon for him, in which he's just a fuzzy dragon. He's not an angel dragon or a Dutch angel dragon, he's just a fuzzy dragon. So he's kind of 3 things altogether, but ultimately the head's more of a Dutchy form than anything. And finally, how has fursuiting changed my life? Well, the thing is, it's only the 14th, which means I've only had Rune for about 2 days now. So he hasn't really had time to change my life as a fursuit. However, I do find that I actually look forward to waking up in the morning and making videos using the head. I cannot stop touching it because it's so fluffy, and it just makes me so happy every time I see the fursuit head, because I've always, like, ever since I made Rune, I wanted to make a suit of him, and just being able to afford, you know, this head, and, you know, just being able to have it and become this character, it really is the highlight of my day, you know, when I see it and I'm like, it does exist, I didn't just dream it, it's here, you know. So it's definitely made me excited for future things, as far as like future videos, future vlogs, possible cons, you know, and fur meets, and meeting new people in fursuit, you know, and possible charities I want to do, and events, and etc. Like, it's made me very, not ambitious, but it's made me look forward to all these things that I can do now and want to do now, and, it's really just made me super excited about what the future holds for me. So, you know, as just a furry and a fursuiter. So that's, but I'm sure that it'll change my life the longer I have him and the more I get to do with him and stuff. So it's a very exciting thing to think about. So wonderful questions, and definitely thanks for asking.
So keep your head